journey, how grateful I am to have the opportunity to be here with you all today. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining. Welcome to Walking the Path. We are here broadcasting live from Los Angeles, California, and beautiful Marina del Rey, California. Yes, indeed. Super excited to be here, getting ready to go back to Rhythmia, which you all should be getting ready to do. You know, we are open. Rhythmia is open. Oh my God, the transformations that occur every week. You know what happens at Rhythmia? What happens at Rhythmia is a soul merger, a life transformation. Like 97, 98 out of every 100 guests leave Rhythmia and say that not only did they have a life transformation while they were there, a miracle, a shift in perspective that was so profound that it changed their lives. But 6 months later, they still say, our guests still report that not only is that miracle still active in their lives, but that it's still working. It's still working and active in their lives. Not only was that the week that changed their lives, but the miracle is still active in their lives. Hey, giving a shout out to Suzanne, hello, from Cali, and Lisa and Max from the Poconos. Hey, you guys. And Venna from Kodiak Island, Alaska. And Candace, hi, beautiful. I love you. And Ishan from London, sending you much love as well. Thank you. Ali, from Saudi Arabia, Kifik. Keith Halleck, Ishan, God bless you all. So grateful you're here. So, all right, I'm so excited to share with you this topic that came through in meditation. How do we become more of what we already are, right? It's a Buddhist koan. A koan is a riddle or a saying that doesn't make sense to the surface mind, and it causes us to go and think beyond our thinking mind, right? So the Buddhist koan is, we are all struggling to become that which we already are, right? So I've been really thinking about that. Like, how do we become more of what we already are? We're already it. And I've been really experiencing this and thinking about this. And this came to me in meditation the other day. I made some notes because I really liked this. Charles from France. Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Bienvenue. Thank you so much. And Heather, welcome. Shout out to everybody. All right. So the topic, how do we become more of that which we already are? This Buddhist koan, this little riddle, right? Because we're already that. How do we become more of what we already are? I got it. Well, this is what I've been thinking about, and I want to share with you. So does everybody know what an aquifer is? An aquifer is an underground, like the water table. You know, the water table is underground, and there's this cavern of water. And the earth takes in rainwater, right? The rain falls down, and the earth takes in this water like a sponge through the land surface, right? The earth's surface is permeable. So rain falls out of the sky, hits the earth, it gets soaked into the ground and flows down into this underground water table. And it flows through permeable stuff like rock and gravel and sand and silt and all the layers of the earth. And it flows down towards this low-lying place, and it eventually gets discharged from the aquifer as a spring, or it seeps into springs, into streams and lakes and rivers, right? So that's the process in a nutshell. Rain comes down, it hits the earth's surface. The earth's surface is permeable, seems solid, but it's permeable. The water flows through the rock, the sand, the silt, goes down into this underground water table, and then it gets purified in that process, right? So the water rains down, it's going to pick up some pollution and particles and dust and stuff in the air, and it's going to then flow into the city, and it flows through the city streets, and it picks up all the trash and all the stuff that's in the city and the oil from the asphalt and all that, right? So the water gets dirty, and then it lands in this place on the earth, and it gets filtered through the sand and the silt, and it removes all that. And then in the aquifer, you have this beautiful, pristine, pure water. So that's us, right? That's the metaphor, right? How do we become more of what we already are? We're like that rainwater, right? We rain down, we're pure. In the journey, we pick up some stuff. We pick up some grime from the journey, right? And then we have to go through some density. We have to go through some stuff, but everything that we're going through is purifying us. Purifying meaning it's taking away, it's removing stuff so that the water purifies through the earth, so that when it gets down to the water table, down to the aquifer, into that place, that pure place, that secret place deep down within the water table, it's pure. So how do we become more of what we already are? Not by adding one thing, not by adding anything. We become more of what we already are by removing stuff, by taking away all that is unlike us, all that which isn't the truth of our being, the fear, the doubt, the worry, the lack, the limitation, the not enoughness, the I'm ugly, the I'm fat, the I'm not smart enough, the I never do it right, all that stuff. That's the impurities that get added to us. And so the way we become more of what we already are is not by adding stuff. You don't need another course. What you need is to take stuff away. That's what rhythmia does. That's what plant medicine does, right? We're going to get into the hows of it. But this is it. To me, this just seemed so clear, right? Not only is it that the water is water, right? And all the stuff gets added to it. How does water become more of what it already is? By removing the stuff that it's not. That's our process. And how does water do that? One way of filtering out all the impurities is by moving through the density of the earth. Man, it's a perfect metaphor. We're here at Earth School, moving through. Yes, Ishan just says like hate, jealousy, greed. Yes, all the stuff that we're not, all the stuff that's not the truth of our being, we move. And how do we remove that stuff? By moving through the density of our experience. This is the spiritual principle that everything is happening for us. Nothing is happening to us. All of those hard times, every time you've run up against something, you didn't do what you wanted to do, you messed up at work, you messed up in a relationship, you've caused more trouble than you were wanting to, all of the hard times in our personal life, our professional life, our intimate life, all of the things we do to ourselves, our addictions, our disorders, our disease, our upset, all of it is like moving through density. It's all here to purify us. The more I move through the density of these experiences, they're taking away all that stuff that isn't me, so that I can be more of who I am, the truth, so that you can be more of who you are. So this process of moving through the density of experience at Earth School is like the process of water moving through the density of the gravel and the silt and the sand and all that stuff to get to the truth of that purity, that pure, beautiful, pristine truth of who we already are. That's the meaning of the Buddhist koan. We're all struggling to become that which we already are. Now, why? Why do we do this? Well, that's our school. That's our curriculum. Everything that is happening to us is happening for us. It's happening for us to go. It's like our personally designed curriculum. The very things that seem to be the obstacles, like rocks and silk and sand and dirt and all that stuff, the things that seem to be permeable, that seem to be permanent, are actually permeable. The things that seem to be obstacles are actually the fuel for our next stage of growth and development, the fuel for the purifying process of burnishing, polishing us up. So why do we have to go through the density? Because this is the way that we become compassionate for ourselves and others. This is the way. If you're a healer, people who are healers often have the darkest roads, right? Like they're going through addiction, they're going through upset, they're going through economic hard times, right? Some of the people that are the biggest healers have gone through the hardest times. And it's because we have to go through these things so that we can have compassion for ourselves and others. It provides a space for us to be able to support others. to be able to support others who are in our lives. It's all a refining process, because the truth is, who we are is that pure, pristine aquifer. And all the stuff that's in the water is the content. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith has a beautiful teaching around the ocean. And I'd like to share that because it's an extension of this metaphor, that the ocean is the ocean. It's like our consciousness. It's like the truth of our being, pure, radiant beingness, consciousness. And all the stuff that's in the ocean is like the content, like the seaweed and the fish poop and the shipwrecks and the plastic and the coral and all the stuff that's in the ocean isn't the ocean. It's the content of the ocean. We are the ocean. We are that pristine body of water, that sea of infinite consciousness. And the stuff that's in the ocean, the content, is like our thoughts. So the good news is we're not our thoughts. The good news is we're not our fear, doubt, lack, limitation, worry, judgment, hate, jealousy, greed, not enoughness. We're not any of that. That's the content. That's like the fish poop and the plastic and the seaweed and all that stuff. We're the ocean. So the process of becoming more of who we really are is removing all that stuff, allowing the content to just be the content. The content itself is actually the fuel for our next stage of growth and development. The content versus who we really are. So I'll give you one more metaphor, and then we're going to go into some practices, some spiritual practices on how do we remove this stuff? What is the removal process? Actually, we don't have to worry about anything. It's already happening. It's already happening for us, right? All the things that are happening in our lives, all the things that are causing us to move beyond our egoic boundaries, to move beyond our current transformation, our current formation, everything that's causing us to stretch and grow and expand, that is our curriculum. That is the spiritual practice of removing everything that is unlike us. So one more metaphor that shows that the obstacle is the way, that shows that the things that seem to be our quote problems are actually the fuel for our next stage of growth and development. So I love the metaphor of the seed. A seed is an amazing blueprint, right? It has a seed shell, right? It has a seed outside coating, and then inside the seed is this latent metabolic machinery waiting for the right circumstances. The right circumstances for the seed would be the right temperature, the right time of year, the soil, the moisture, all that stuff, right? So the seed has this coating and this metabolic machinery and this blueprint of perfection. The whole oak tree is in the acorn. The whole tomato plant and all of its fruit is in the seed of the tomato. The apple tree and all of its apples are in the apple seed, right? The blueprint for it, the idea of it, the divine idea of it, its perfection is there waiting to be activated. So when you have a seed, you have that outside coating, and then you have the metabolic machinery inside. The outside coating of the seed has protein. It's a protective coating. It's a hard shell that protects the seed until it's ready. And then underneath that protective layer is protein. That's what the seed is going to use. Once that metabolic machinery is activated, the seed is going to use that protein to burst forth the plumule and the taproot. Okay, so we're that seed, and all of our egoic structures of protective mechanisms, coping behaviors, compulsive behaviors, old thought patterns that we think aren't serving us anymore, right? All of that's like that protective coating of the seed. We're the seed, and there's something in us. There's a perfect idea of who we are, a divine blueprint. The whole apple tree is in the seed. The whole truth of who we are is in us, waiting to be activated. And so when the conditions are right, like coming to Rhythmia, or when the conditions are right, like doing your spiritual practices, we're going to talk about that activation occurs. Once that activation occurs, the seed doesn't really change on the outside. We have an activation and we think everything needs to be different. But the truth is, it takes some time. And Jerry talked about this in his Facebook Live last Tuesday, right? You can't, it's a 5 to 10 year plan, right? So here's that seed. Something's been activated inside, and now the seed begins to eat away at the protective coating. The very thing that was hard and crusty and kept and protected it from the outside, like our egoic structures, our compulsive behaviors, our boundaries, etc. All of those things provide the fuel. They're the fuel for our next stage of growth. The seed is using that. So something's been activated in you. There's a divine idea waiting to burst forth. It's waiting for the right conditions. The conditions are now. The conditions are now. And all that it requires is that we follow our practices so that we can work through those egoic structures, those protective layers, and burst forth the truth of our plumal, the expression of our greatest good, and our rooting deeper, like the taproot, getting connected, so deeply connected to all of the richness of the earth, deeply connected to our source, God, the source of all of life, this eternal energy that's neither created nor destroyed, but transferred or conveyed into different forms. So we're that seed. We've got that divine blueprint. We've got that latent machinery waiting to burst forth, to shine as our leaves and our flowers and our blossoms, expressing ourselves, rising up to the sun and rooting deeper into our connection with God. How do we do that? Now for the practical, now for the practice. So you can come to some retreats. Retreats are a great way to activate something and quicken something. Rhythmia is an amazing way we see people happen. This happens in a week. What hasn't happened in 10 years happens in a night. It's amazing. And and what we say at Rhythmia is, it's not just going to ceremony. That's only 50%. The rest of it is the practice that you do every day. Your spiritual practices. Here's a list of some spiritual practices. Surrender. Surrender is a spiritual practice. Acceptance, right? Accepting ourselves for just exactly what we are. If you want to know more about surrender, you can go back, type in surrender on Rhythmia's Facebook or on YouTube, and you'll see I did a whole teaching on surrender and what that was. And if you want more information on surrender, you can direct message me. Acceptance. There's a whole talk I did on ending our inner civil war. That is acceptance of ourselves, fully accepting that everything that we're going through, no matter how dense and uncomfortable it is happening for us. Meditation. No joke. Meditation. Service. Being of service. Volunteer. Get out there. Actively serve other people. Do some breath work. Fellowship, be in community, take care of your body temple, hydrate, eat good, whole, healthy foods. Don't eat processed foods. These are all parts of our spiritual practice that help us see how to become more of what we really are. But the truth is that everything in the density of this experience of life, like the earth soaking up the rain, the earth school is soaking us up. We rained down from heaven, the realm of an ever-expanding good. We rained down from the realm of infinite possibility and potentiality. And we are being absorbed by the earth school, by the surface of the earth. We're moving through the density of this school. It's purifying us, removing everything that's unlike us so that we can be the truth of who we are. Pristine, pure, life-giving, and flowing. Woohoo! All right, that's our talk today. How to become more of who you really are. Accept, surrender, do your spiritual practices, and remember it's all happening for you. And becoming more of who you are isn't adding anything. It's taking away everything that's unlike the truth of your being. All right. Wow. Shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for your comments. Ishan and Jenny and Heather, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just so grateful. I'm wishing you all the best. I'm knowing that you are all guided by this infinite intelligence, that you are all guarded by an infinite love, and that you are all sourced by an infinite power that knows no exhaustion. And so it is.